I'm kind of hoping that the Hoodwink is 5, and they do have a stun for the Blood Right combo. I think that'd be a lot better.
Okay, so you want to see a Hood 5 and a Coddle 4.
Yeah, and Cod will just stack the jungle up and, farm or give it to his teammates. Could be good.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any feelings towards what T1 might want to go
No
here?
idea. This
Okay.
is completely... Look, now they have a Magnus. Nobody knows what's going on here.
I was expecting that question, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I was already trying to think of what to answer that question with, and I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
It's new patch. We haven't seen T1 play since the major, and their draft is just, it's a bit wild. In a good way. Like, I don't think it's their draft necessarily bad. It's just,
they've got 3 offlaners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. They're actually trilating, and it's going to be 3 plus 3s. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think why Magnus. Are they going to go for the Scepter build? All right, Magnus going mid, right?
All right.
Carl's
Sell me on it. Sell me on it.
So Carl's going to go mid with Magnus this game.
Yep.
He's going to get Aghanims because they buffed it, and he's just going to go ham.
Yeah, he did play it last DPC on mid. I remember seeing him. He played some weird mids. He played Magnus. He played Tusk mid one game. He's got a bit of you mentioned Excelern in his hero pool. Carl's kind of the similar thing where he'll bust out Alina, but he can also bust out these off meta picks.
Yeah, and Zephyr is playing Tree, and then they're gonna flex between Cuckoo and Whitemon. One of those two is playing, the Viper and the Dawn. They're gonna switch depending, maybe on what they see, even. Potentially.
Yeah, I mean they do have overall last pick on this side of T1, so they definitely are in that position.
Yeah.
I mean Gabby could also play Mag if he really wanted, but I'd like to see it mid with Ags. That'd be much more fun.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the buffs to the hero were that Ags build. So.
Is there a mid that sticks out for you on RSG, like what they could pick up that doesn't really succumb to what's already being picked up on T1?
I'm trying to think. I mean, there's a Dusa ban. Why are they scared of Dusa for?
Yeah, I don't play a lot of mid, but you see Viper and you're just it's kind of hard because Viper ruins so many heroes.
Maybe they Wind Ranger. I don't know. I'm just like, I just keep thinking that's like Excelern's era that he loves to play. I think it's like his most.
I'm okay with it. It really is player preference at this point. There's nothing that RSG needs particularly because they got the team fight, they got a carry. They just need a hero that can kill these heroes, and there's a lot of those. So it really just comes down to what is your mid player good at.
Yep. Do you ever think there's a realm where this Coddle could be flexed to the mid? I'm not sure if RSG play that. I don't know if it works for this.
I don't like it that much. It could, but I think there could be something better that they could play here. And there's a lot of bans here, though. Like, the Bat is banned. That could have been good. Puck, I don't know if that would have been good, but that's banned. What is the best thing? I mean, I was thinking Leshrac could be okay with them. If Storm is still a hero, it could be okay. And it looks like Venomancer is the choice. See, I could have never guessed that.
What? You couldn't see a Venom coming?
Is Venom even going mid?
I don't know. Mars might just be mid at this point. I don't know.
Venom's not really a mid laner. Maybe they're just going to wait to see what T1 pick and then decide.
It's like, oh, you picked one toxic hero, we'll get the other. Balanced.
This is where T1 busts out Necro last pick or something.
Yeah. No, but on a serious note, though, there is synergy with Veno. Bloodseeker is like a classic. You just get in there on Veno, you die. But you get your ulti off. Everyone takes a lot of damage, they get low HP, and then, Bloodseeker gets really fast and very angry and can mop up the team fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think that's what Veno's going to offer for them here? T1, how do they retaliate?
I think they want a melee carry with mobility because they want something that benefits from power, but you're playing against Veno, so
the two best are gone. I thought Lifesteal and Jug would have been super good, but those are banned.
Void is banned. Maybe there's PA. I don't know. Your lane looks really bad and rough. I don't think you can play PA.
Probably gonna do something like Wraith King or something that has a little sustain. Versus Veno, huh? All right.
It's just who needs empower targets? I mean,
that one is very, very questionable, but
Okay.
Wait, it's a 5 Venom. Oh, yeah, of course. Roger loves his 5 Venom, so they're going to
Coddle
do
mid?
Coddle mid. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, you called it then.
Called
you go.
it. Well, the other thing that I get to call is our cast is in. So Mike and John, jump on in here. John, you could start this time and give me the rundown if you saw any of this coming.
No, not at all. And I think I speak for Mike as well that Venomancer, it's a hero me and Mike have seen throughout the years. It's a hero that we have strong feelings over. I'd say T1 has a better draft. The last pick, TA, is also, it's pretty funny into the Venomancer support. We'll see if T1 can make that work, but I like this changeup. I think Gabby on the Slave Lane Magnus, it's not something we've seen since TNC, I think, Mike. So it's been a long time, and keen to see what Gabby brings out, whether or not he goes for that Axe.
Yeah, I'm questioning T1's draft as well. Up until this Veno pick, and that just ruined everything for me. Like this, I don't know. Like the Veno pick against TA seems really good, but then T1 just chose TA into it. Like they don't care. It's Veno.
Yeah.
It does nothing.
It feels like they knew, honestly. They just picked the TA into the Coddle mid. They knew it was going mid.
I think
They-
Carl's going to
they
pop
read it?
off this game. This as much as like there's a Venom, but this is a 5 Venom. This Venom's going to
Yeah,
be
who
food for
cares?
him.
Yeah.
You know, you can still use, if you have refraction, you can still blink around enough. Like, I think Carl just carries the hell out of this game.
Do you guys want to give a prediction on a team?
Yeah, T1.
T1?
Yeah, 2-1. I think.
Alrighty, then double T1 over here for Mike and John. Game 1 between RSG and T1.
Thank you so much, Nat. We do go into game number 1 here between T1 and RSG. And John, when I saw that Veno pick, I got a bit of PTSD. Seeing the Veno, I thought T1 picked it up for a second. I was like, Jesus, March, please, not again. No more cuckoo Veno. We've gone over this March. I even had this chat with him in Stockholm about it, and he just ran away from me when I brought up the Veno pick. He literally just started running. He went into the elevator and just went somewhere. I don't know where he went. Hopefully, no more Veno.
Yeah, hopefully so, and maybe they'll show us why Veno is not a great pick in this game. RSG, I mean, Roger loves his odd 5s, right? I was talking about seeing him in his stream, talking about Ember 5 last two patches ago. He was like, oh yeah, Ember 5 is really good, you know, everything works in 5. He's bringing out the Venomancer. And I do like the point that Fear brought out. You can just drop everyone low, have the Bloodseeker run around with everyone on low HP, clean up very nicely. Whether or not these fights break out that way is another question. So I'm keen to see how RSG pulls off these engagements, whether or not they can get that early aggression off. Because as this game scales on, T1's draft looks terrifying towards the late game. Like you've got a Magnus that can scale, you've got a TA that can scale, that has a pretty decent matchup on mid. You've got this insane wombo combo of RP, Overgrowth, and Solar Guardian on top. Like the chain stunts, the team fight control is amazing from T1 if they are on top of you. So keen to see if RSG can really fight against that quite well, and just how much they can get out of their lanes, because it feels like with this draft, they're looking for a strong laning start.
Yeah, I'm curious as well about this Pos 5 Dawnbreaker. Like, you know me, John, I play a lot of Dawnbreaker, and this hero feels complete garbage right now as well, right? In Pos 5 role,
Yeah,
it's like, what does
I've
it do?
experienced that, Mikey. We've experienced it together.
No,
You're
no,
the
not my
Dawnbreaker.
Dawnbreaker,
We
John.
have. Yes, it was. It was. I will recall in Stockholm. That is
Was
all
it-
I will say.
Were you laning with me? I can't remember.
No, I was not laning with you. No.
Oh, okay.
God,
Well,
no.
I've got
I
no
would have
excuses
just
then.
abandoned.
Xiao Yu. Gonna get jumped on here, White Mod. Gonna get a fair bit of damage off onto Xiao Yu. 90 runes to go the way, I think, mostly the way of RSG is they'll get a third one here for Roger. So very nice start here for RSG going into the laning phase. And why'd you have to bring up the Dawnbreaker game, John? Yeah, I was trying to show off in front of the boys. We met some new talent. I was trying to show off with my Dawnbreaker. Not my
Why
fault. The
would you
hero's complete
choose that
garbage.
hero? Yeah, you know the hero's dead. And you pick it. Show off. Whitemon might be the one showing off here with his Dawnbreaker pick. I mean,
Highly doubt it,
Dawnbreaker,
John.
along with the Magnus, there are some plays. You could try to play around with Celestial Hammer and then try to line up for, you know, a good skewer back, try to play. It should just end up being a farm lane. Do love that Whitemon's just getting aggressive on Xiao Bonbon. Cuts down the tree line on the right side as well. So the angles are a bit harder to work for the Hoodwink. Xiao, you should have a pretty good time here, though.
Yeah, bot lane Zephyr almost ends up dropping on the Train Protector, trying to get some damage off onto the Bloodseeker. Interesting bot lane as well, Jonathan. Viper versus Venomancer. What a lane we have here between these two. So who has the advantage? Which poison is superior, Jonathan?
No one has an advantage, Mike. We all lose for this presence in Dota 2. This is just not fun for anyone. It's not fun for Cuckoo. It's not fun for MKS. Only Roger gets to really have fun in
Well,
Cuckoo,
top lane.
actually. Yeah, Cuckoo gets to have some fun.
Yeah, you should be dying here. They will. Gabby will be able to pick up first blood on the Magnus, just abusing the shockwave to be able to secure the kill. Props to Whitemon John. He did not pop that mango and end up taking the kill for himself. I definitely would have.
This is why the Dawnbreaker of Michael Phoenix is something to avoid in your pubs. If you see a certain person with a Phoenix in your pubs in Southeast Asia picking Dawnbreaker, you know what to do, guys. You know what to do.
Bottom lane. MKS gonna drop Cuckoo, able to take one kill, might have another. And Roger's gonna drop Zephyr. Be careful, sir. I don't think he needed to do that. I don't think he needed to do that.
Yeah, but Cuckoo can't stay in lane, you know, might as well get the reset, go back, come back in, and just be fully topped up to spit on your enemies once more. So, it's looking like a strong start for T1. Mid lane's probably the wonkiest lane. Carl is getting some good CS off, but he is starting to drop low. There's some good aggression coming through from Exelearn. He's working lane well enough, but Carl is still finding that early start that he'd want on that TA. So, I think for the side of RSG, we talked about this. Their lineup needs to find some of that aggression going. We need to see how much more Roger can get out of his lane for MKS. We need to start seeing those combinations up top line up. It all boils down to Whitemon up top. Nice skewer back.
Certainly is. Xiao Yu in big trouble now as Whitemon does move his way in. Does have the Starbreaker, and that should mean Xiao Yu is set to fall, though Whitemon never throws it out yet. Xiao Yu going to be able to walk away. Oh, Xiao Bon just holding back the Magnus. Gabby gonna have to go back into that top tier 1 tower and keep the farm going. Meanwhile, Whitemon still chasing with the Starbreaker connecting in the end. Wanted to wait for the Celestial Hammer apparently to make sure he was gonna connect.
Yep, it does pay off in the end. Patience is lining up, and T1 off to a 0-4 start. RSG. And this team looked super promising in Div 2, right? Last tour, they looked really good, and they played in BTS Pro Series in the interim period between tours. It did not look like the same team. It just looked a lot more figured out, perhaps. Maybe the teams had more chances to study RSG, figure out what's going on there, how they play, and it's showing here. They are starting to fall a bit behind in the lane. Their aggression's not quite lining up. They might find Zephyr, though.
They may. Zephyr is going to drop Cuckoo, unable to actually protect the Dream Protector this time around, so MKS able to take the first kill of the game here for RSG, and we feel very nice for him. Even as the Bloodseeker, it's not the most fun lane in the world going up against the Dream Protector and the Viper. So just being able to secure a kill for himself is going to feel very nice.
Yeah, so going to help to start ramp up. Carl's starting to drop low mid. He does have a refraction, but that is giving a lot of move speed out onto MKS. So it's making his lane much more manageable, allowing him to be aggressive onto Cuckoo. And I think that's where they have to be a bit cautious on T1. If you do drop low across the lanes, Bloodseeker gets to handle that Viper lane in a certain way of his own.
Xiao Bon about to drop. Whitemon really wanting the kill and really setting up for the killers. Gabby still having a look around. Has a mango for a shockwave, but it is on cooldown. So they're not going to be able to secure the kill into the Hoodwink, but Whitemon's done a great job of just making this life a little bit hellish for the Hoodwinkers. Now MKS and Roger in big trouble. Roger already going to drop MKS. He'll be okay to back himself out, but it's still a very tough lane for himself.
Yeah, it's going back and forth, and MKS is still holding his own. He's finding some good CS in lane, keeping up with what Gabby's doing in his top lane. But that strong start still feels like it's on T1. So like, you're still playing aggressive up top. They're just constantly running down Xiao Yu. Whitemon just doesn't back off. Does force out the spear on himself, getting that Starbreaker off. And that just gives Gabby all the room to farm. Like, constantly cutting the tree line, preventing any bushwhack combos. It's tough to play with that Mars and Hoodwink lane when you don't have anything to latch onto.
Very, very tough time here. Don't get the wrong idea, John. The hero is not very good. Whitemon's doing a fantastic job, John, but, you know, this Dawnbreaker eventually is going to fall off, I'm sure. Xiao Yu. Very tough time in the Mars. In fact, it seems like Xiao Bon's just completely given up on that top lane. It's the Hoodwink. He's just been chased down the whole time. Every time Whitemon's got that Celestial Hammer, he just throws it out and just makes Xiao Bon's life a living hell. Speaking of the devil, Whitemon is going to show up for the 6-minute power room, but it is going to be down a bot where Carl has already picked one up. He'll go for a TP play out, but the Illuminate is going to fly right through. They just made sure to burn through the refraction charges, and now they can pressure that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, that's a massive kill. Slowing down the TA, slowing down that one momentum-based hero for T1 is going to put a bit of a dent on T1's progression, and that damage onto the tier 1 mid is pretty significant coming through with a siege creep up. That's something that Kotl can excel at, clearing out the opposite creep wave, getting the shove out. And if they're not careful, if they start to drop some of these early towers because of that skirmish, it can feel like RSG gets that opening back. Right? Like they've got early magic damage, they've got the Venomancer who just needs to hit level 6, they've got a Bloodseeker who can join these early fights with her lineup. And T1, they're very ult-based as the game goes on. You know, Solar Guardian, RP, Overgrowth has to come through. None of those levels are lining up yet, and even then, I don't think you can expect something like Gabby's Magnus to join in early on, so you're going to have to rely on 2 supports to really make those plays. Not something you want to risk when you're up against that Venomancer and Bloodseeker combination that will punish you for prolonged fights.
Yeah, still 2-5. Net worth actually leaning the way of RSG right now, surprisingly enough. They are still doing a very decent job in that mid and safe lane for RSG. Of course, you are against the Kotl after all, so chances are XE Learn is going to overtake the net worth board very, very soon on that Kotl. Now, it's kind of, I mean, you saw the nerfs come out in this recent sub patch, but they don't really mean too much. The Kotl is still a pretty busted mid hero if you wanted to run it. XE Learn still having a fantastic time on this hero. But it does seem like both teams are more than happy to just sit back and farm for now. No real rush to make anything happen. I suppose they are rather passive drafts, at least to the mid game, past that laning stage, so chances are they're just going to sit back and relax for a little bit, trying to keep that farm going. Bottom lane. I thought Cuckoo and Zephyr might try to go for MKS once again, but now they're the ones in trouble. Cuckoo immediately just going to TP up. Very good timing for the TP, as well as XE Learn does TP in with the Boots of Travel, but gets nothing out of it.
Yeah, it's something their lineup isn't really set up for on RSG. Like their TP stops are under off lane and their pause 4. If the Moors or the Hoodwink aren't around, the 3 heroes don't really have hold and you can just bail out. They are trying to get that shove in. So RSG recognizing that they've got really strong push, they want to kind of counteract that Treant Protector while Living Armor stuck at level 1, trying to get as much as they can. Mid's already gone, so they just need another tower to start invading that opposite jungle. Gonna see if they fully commit. I feel like top is gonna be the better one. It opens up the top jungle, much more area to farm on your own side and get some punishment off, but it does look like RSG are focusing on just giving MKS a stronger start. Still working towards that Maelstrom here in the Bloodseeker. And it is still a ways off as Cuckoo starts to go.
Bot lane. MKS gonna be fine in the fountain. He will out-regen the poison damage. He's still struggling in net worth, I suppose, a little bit in this bottom lane, so you don't really mind if you only kind of just force him out. Meanwhile, Xiao Bon top lane, gonna get RP'd here by Gabby. I mean, if you've got it up, why the hell not? Gabby just commits immediately, and it's right back to farming for him.
Yeah, just build up, get a kill going. Whitemon already has the level 6 as well. So he has the option to join in with the Solar Guardian. Would love to have Zephyr's Overgrowth up, and it is. So the team fight wombo combo is starting to line up for T1. And that could be something RSG will have to watch for themselves. No level 6 on Roger yet. Starting to inch towards that point. Exeler still just looking to shove down bot and prevent any sort of shove into his own tower while trying to get some chip damage done in that bot tier 1 and keep that farm game up. Does look like quick pause. The spike has been fixed. Good news, because I believe T1 has moved to a new boot camp area. I think that's what they were talking about last time in Stockholm as well, so hopefully the connection holds up. We've seen last tour.
Overgrowth, MKS gonna get caught out. He just picked up a haste rune, but it won't matter. Whitemon now on a killing spree on this Thornbreaker. Great Overgrowth being committed by Zephyr. And while we're speaking about Stockholm, John, I may as well tell everybody that the moment I met Zephyr, I realized he didn't know my name. You were there.
Ah, yes, I can attest to that. Zephyr took a good full minute trying to guess who you were. It's like, I know you. Then Whitemon had to chip in. It's like, yeah, MLP, right, you, yes. Zephyr covering very well. So it's a good thing Whitemon took that kill.
And Whitemon being the ultimate POS 5, actually supporting his POS 4 in that situation. He's about to pick up Zephyr and, you know, just chuck him through a window if he wasn't going to remember quick, John. He's getting very, very upset. They knew your name straight away, though, which was nice. Sure, they thought my name was John, too.
Of course.
He just didn't want to say it in case.
It's just so amazing people actually mix this up. I don't have a glorious beard, all right, guys? Most
Neither
people
do
would
I,
know.
to be fair.
True
White one.
enough. True enough.
Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Gabby, one of the things about the Pos 1 Magnus, if you leave it alone, it's gonna farm very quickly. Roger might be donating to the Gabby charity here as Roger does go down. Gabby happily accepting donations is what I was meant to say is bot lane. Cuckoo dropping rather low on the Viper is going to be just fine to back out as XC Learn could not finish off the job. Neither could Zhao Bon.
Yeah, just not being able to burst through the Viper. Still fairly durable enough. Power Treads on strength, Wraith Band, and a Buckler on hand, slowly working towards that Wraith Pack. So it does look like T1 just wants to mitigate that wide AoE damage coming through here. They do catch out Carl, but can't really kill him off. Neither can Carl really commit.
Well, they might be able to kill Carl off here, John. Rupture is committed. Blood Right, it's going to connect, but here comes the Solar Guardian from Whitemont to remain protected here on the TA as Roger is still trying to go, but they're going to donate another life away as the Overgrowth is going to go right through. They might be able to at least get Whitemont. In fact, Zhao Yu, he jumps in the right moment. They at least find both supports for the side of RSG. T1, they do manage to get Carl out of there. So you do save the TA, but it does cost you heavily.
Yeah, it comes at a massive cost. The 2 support kills are actually pretty darn big for RSG, and that's a great blink reveal from Zhao Yu. Did have a slower start, hits that timing, starts to get aggressive with his team, and now they get to invade those stacks. Carl wants them for himself, he can't really clear him.
Gets caught out with a bushwhack. Carl is going to give his own life away now. RSG able to take one away from them. I think Carl was just trying to get in range to be able to snipe some of those big ancient creeps, but gets nothing for his trouble.
Great punishment from RSG. Carl just being too greedy and trying to go back for their stacks. RSG find exactly what they want. Like, outside of a few skirmishes here and there, they've got pretty good map control right now. Mid-tier 1 still gone. They just need to get a shove on either top or bot to really hammer in jungle control on the opposite side. They're getting that build-up they need on the Keeper of Light. Exelern already has the full Spirit Vessel on hand. So combine that with a Venomancer's damage, it's just a lot of DOTs here.
Oh, Whitemont going to try to juke out the Starbreaker, or rather the Sharpshooter. Won't be able to do that though. Whitemont does go down. Really abusing the Rupture plus Sharpshooter. Now top lane going to be forced in here by Zhao Yu and Roger. T1 trying to get some pressure down at the bot tier 1 tower, but nothing really happening there. Cuckoo just unable to get through MKS. They might try again now with the Overgrowth up. Zephyr, he'll jump in with the Tumbler's Toy. Viper Strike committed. They've got the Bloodseeker trapped up. Surely they've got the kill, and they do. Nice setup there from Zephyr. Cuckoo will happily take the kill on the Viper. You're going to really need to make sure this Bloodseeker does remain down like that, because it does seem quite potent in the current patch.
Yeah, when you do get that running start, the hero does show up. And again, you've got that great combination of dropping everyone low with a Poison Nova, with the Gale out, and just in a sustained fight, if that Bloodseeker does live through, he's going to be a monster to contend with. Now, T1 has done a great job of buying Gabby space. He's got this blink up already, Mike, with the Echo Saber 14 minutes in. This is a very farmed Magnus.
Zephyr, he's already getting the info for his team, though he has been caught out. So he might just drop before the team fight really starts, and will. But he knows they're in there somewhere. Gabby, he's going to make his way over with Whitemont. They do have the Solar Guardian combination with the RP as Gabby's going to jump right in. They've got the Mars trapped up. Bushwhack going to make it a little bit more challenging, but eventually they should have it. As Zhao Yu going to drop the arena, going to try and fight back. Zhao Yu may have set up a perfect team fight. They take down the Mars, but can they survive through it? Gabby about to drop, does go down. XE Learn with a double kill as Whitemont tries to run. Bushwhack won't land, but MKS eventually should be able to catch up and get the kill. Zhao Bon is the one to take it. Perfect setup there by the Mars. He knows he's going to die, but he makes sure he takes them with him.
Great turnaround from RSG to go into that TP point, help out the team, find that opportunity. This is space for Carl this time around, but that's a massive loss from Gabby. He was top net worth, he had his blink, that was his blink reveal as well. Carl being sneaky here.
Gonna try for Roger, might just have it and does. Blink away. The chase is on though. XE Learn trying to get within range for the solar bind. Does actually land it. Carl getting knocked back, trying to go for that power in, but the bushwhack is going to cancel the TP off and they get another. I'll tell you what, John, this RSG is more like the RSG we were used to from Div 2 last tour.
They're back in form, bouncing back from that slower Pro Series start they had before the tour. Maybe just learning a lot from that time and having their confidence boosted back. T1 getting overly aggressive, overly greedy for some of these kills, are bleeding out quite a bit. RSG, their timing is kicking up here. We're not seeing any early BKBs being finished up by T1 anytime soon. Carl is working towards his own, but still lacking at least 1,200 away. A lot more time where RSG can just constantly run around with Kotal, play around with the damage they have from Roger, and tie that in with MKS and have the threat of that arena from Xiaoyu. He's been on point for RSG every single engagement, and it feels like a lot of RSG's success does bounce off from that off lane. Xiaoyu, again, a bit of a slower start up top, but just hits the blink, starts being aggressive, and they've stopped T1 from really going for any objectives. Mid is still standing well, bot is still standing well. They've managed to clear out the top tier when they're playing against a Treant Protector, and they've managed to take these early objectives. It just doesn't feel like it's going according to T1's plan. They need to now kind of start to stall out for Carl, build up on that TA, and they will smoke us 4 once more.
They're going to try again, T1. I mean, RP, not the longest cooldown in the world. Now going to make their way back over towards Xiaoyu on the Mars. We've seen this one before. This time around, though, doesn't seem like they're going to be able to catch him out in time. Or maybe they can. They still got the vision over him. They've just got to dive the mid-tier 1 tower for this if they really want it. XE Learn right behind him, but Xiaoyu still might be the perfect bait here once again as RSG going to throw down the arena, going to try and force the fight. Illuminate going to fly right through very, very soon. Cuckoo in trouble, is going to get taken down, it seems like eventually, and he does. But it's a 1-for-1 this time. Roger going to pop the poison over, and that's a great bushwhack out. Jump on Bond, catching out both as Carl's going to try and back out of there, but they've got another one. MKS, he's in again. Gabby does at least TP away, but Whitemon cannot do the same. RSG, you really got to give props here to Zhao Bonbon. These bushwhacks have been fantastic.
They're connecting very well together with Excelern as well. The chakra to drop that bushwhack cooldown. It's an obnoxiously high uptime stun with that combination from Excelern. And T1 just don't respect it. They constantly try to jump Xiaoyu. The control gets there. Gabby gets caught out again, still has the RP ready, but can't blink. No BKB to purge off anything. The DOTs will hold him back, and a 5k lead for RSG coming into this. T1, they still have massive win conditions in that TA, but Carl's died 3 too many times. He's had 4 deaths so far in this game. And one of them from being really greedy on the Ancients. Needs so much more time to be online on that TA. BKB has to be on after that, probably the Desolator, and then you feel a lot more confident in that hero melting through and scaling into the late game. Until then, T1 have been more than happy to drag Gabby along to these fights, but it does feel like he's going to need his own BKB as well on top of that.
Xiaoyu trying to set up onto Cuckoo's Viper, but unable to catch him this time around. Cuckoo is going to be able to survive. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Carl could be in danger as Roger is trying to find a way to make the jump in, but Carl will back off at the right moment. So RSG really trying to take advantage of this powerful timing they have. Not wanting to allow anyone to get away here. MKS, though, he's getting surrounded top lane. They might try for an initiation. He has got Roger around to scout out for him on the Veno. And it seems like that's going to be enough to scare T1 away.
Yeah, I think the name of the game for T1, they are still trying to be aggressive around Blink RP, but kind of reel it back. There's no reason for you to be overly aggressive on T1 Sim. You can just have faith that your Magnus, your TA can scale into the late game and just keep building up. Hit those BKB timings. Start to play around with that big teamfight threat. You have so many ways of piercing through RSG's own BKBs if they do start to build into it, and just get going from there. You can't afford to constantly jump Xiaoyu. His turn potential is just way too high. And RSG, for their part, they've kind of settled in. You know, they've been taking these fights, but they haven't made progress on the map. So T1 still has their tier 2s to fall back to. They still have some control of the jungle. They still have some room to get Carl and Gabby farm. RSG will go for a 3-man smoke, though.
Cuckoo could be the target they go after. Zhao Bonbon this time does not land the bushwhack, however. Gets a sharpshooter, but that's not going to make the difference. Cuckoo might be able to set up with his team now to try and force a fight. Gabby is around the area on the Magnus if they want to try. Oh, they're going to find MKS. Gabby looking for the jump in, does commit the RP immediately. No messing around. They take down the POS1 Bloodseeker.
And that's what they need. Just reel it back in and get much better targets to jump on outside of the Mars. They managed to make it work. MKS just a bit too isolated farming. Great ward placement from T1 earlier on to give that information out for the smoke. And they have managed to successfully drag Karl away from these fights as well. No jumps so far being occurring on Karl. They've been trying to jump Cuckoo. Viper is starting to get pretty tanky. BKB coming through next after the raid pack here. So the durability is going to shoot up. And it does feel like RSG... I feel like the next 5 minutes are the most important for them, because this is the moment where T1 starts to hit some early BKBs, start to get that build up on Gabby. Kusaber coming in, BKB done from the disassembly, working onto that Silver Edge. Like, this is the point where you start to see that potential scaling from T1. And with the early BKBs on these two cores up, that magic combination with Kotl, with the Venomancer, it does feel like it tapers off here.
Here we go though, Roshan has been started. RSG trying to rush it before T1 notices. And it seems like they might just get away with this. There is a bit of a group up coming in from T1, but they need to hurry up if they want to get there in time. RSG still going for this. Cuckoo making his way over. It looks like he's too late though. Roshan is still dropping. They're still trying to get there, but it's not going to be enough. Not quick enough at the least. Now Zhao Yu Arena is down. They caught Cuckoo on the Viper. He'll be left to die here by T1. In fact, never mind Gabby. He's going to make the jump in. They do at least find Zhao Yu as a trade. In fact, MKS, he got stunned up. But it seems like they'll accept the 2-for-1. In fact, never mind Karl. He's been caught in the backside and is going to drop. Well, it was a good trade before Karl got caught out, and well, now it doesn't look very good.
He managed to get that snipe on Roger, but he had to pop his BKB for it and fades out. They get the control back from RSG's end. T1, the rest of the team was not able to connect. And it's just a very split up fight from T1 on two fronts, with Karl sitting very far away from the team. They do at least find two, their efforts aren't in vain. They're keeping this game steady. 16-16, 3K lead for RSG is still up there. A lot of that is currently on Xlearn. So the investment is going in onto that Kotl, and we've seen the Kotl fall off towards the ultra late game. Still,
what a bushwhack, top lane, right on the edge, catching Cuckoo. He is just gonna melt.
The light fades from your eyes.
So much magical burst with this Keeper and Bloodseeker combination. Oh, Cuckoo, I mean, you land the bushwhack, it's about all over for the Viper. He's got no BKB up, there's just no chance. In for more. Zhao Yu gonna find Waimon, but misses the spear. Waimon gonna try for a TP up, might actually make it. And he does.
Oh boy, just a bit too durable now on the Dawnbreaker with the Hood of Defiance up. So not gonna be bursted down as quickly. Very important for them to get the spear as on Karl.
That's a much bigger target though. He'll get the BKB off in time. Roger gonna be dragged back by the skewer of Gabby. Does go down, but they're trying for Zhao Yu now, who does get a nice arena off. Waimon, he's the one caught out. So is Zephyr. Both supports dropping low. There goes one. It seems like Waimon has no chance of surviving as he gets ruptured up and taken down. RSG back into the mid-tier 2 tower they go. T1, it just doesn't feel like they're ready to try and defend yet. The tier 2 should drop very simply. And it will.
Dire's middle tower
that Cuckoo. Well, he does get bushwhacked up, but they won't go for any more. They're happy with that.
Start to threaten high ground. Next time around, T1 does lose a fight. T1's high ground defense is pretty damn good, though. Overgrowth, Solar Guardian, RP, that combination works really well in such a tight choke point. They have to be careful about bleeding out one by one, though.
Cuckoo gets caught out with the bushwhack again. Hands up this time. MKS. He'll get a high five. It's just not from Cuckoo.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I mean, RSG, the regression is just kicking in. After a bit of a slower start in lanes, they figure out, you know what, we've got to play really quick. They get that blink from Zhao Yu, they run around, The combination's still strong. T1 have to be so careful in choosing when to pop those BKBs. 2 sets of racks now kind of exposed. The tier 3's already besieged on the high ground here. Age is still up for a minute 40. A lot of time for MKS if they do want to commit. They will take it slow. T1, I mean, they need a little bit more to come true. Carl still farming up, has the Desolator up, onto the Nullifier next. And the TA is starting to look pretty scary. We haven't seen them connect with, say, a big RP overgrowth yet. RSG's been so spaced apart that T1's not been able to get the clump up to really work this team fight their way. And that is giving RSG the opportunities to still keep playing this pickoff game. They basically just catch one hero out, force the rest of T1 on top, and then just clean up afterwards while maintaining really good distancing. Gavin just has a hard shot catching big RPs.
Leipnir gonna set up onto Whitemon. He's just gonna drop instantly as Cuckoo again has been caught out on the Viper in the arena by Zhao Yu. MKS is gonna make the jump in and try, and does eventually get the Viper down. It only cost them Roger. Scabby does eventually throw the RP out, but this mid BKB trying for the skewer. He's not gonna get an MKS. Somehow still alive. Walks out, but no, the side blades. The side blades connect. MKS, he had the Aegis anyway. He won't mind the reset too much, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to go high ground off this. T1 are successfully holding high ground, but it is costing them a lot every single time.
It's costing them way too much. They need to get this BKB up and running on Cuckoo. He cannot afford to just be bursted down from a mile away on that Viper. He needs that spell immunity to just stand his ground, you know, act as a bit of a frontliner for the team, force a response onto him, and force an overcommittal from RSG to line up for that RP, to line up for that overgrowth, and then have Carl get the damage off from there. So, gonna need to see if the angles open up and present themselves for T1, but RSG still looking good. 12k lead, controlling that top jungle, cutting off the farm points for tier 1. For T1, Carl just kind of farming where he can, hiding around, making sure he's safe, cutting through the creep wave. And the build-up is still there. Our TA is starting to lag behind in comparison to MKS and to Exilern. The two cores of RSG just looking bigger and bigger. They've got the Hex up now as well on Exilern. So an instant lockdown coming through from RSG to follow up on. And T1, they might get caught off guard. They rely so much on having these BKBs in the engagements. And it's starting to wear thin. Like, we're down to 7 seconds in Gabby. Carl starting to drop down to 6 over.
Doesn't connect, but Whitemon still being caught out by the spear, is somehow alive. I just don't think the help's gonna be incoming. Eventually, Exilern will take the kill. In fact, pings are out. They saw Gabby. I think they may have seen the Magnus. In fact, they haven't. Or maybe they have. Blood right? Not gonna be enough. Gabby, he'll be okay.
Yeah, they are just dropping supports in some of these skirmishes, so could be worse for T1. BKB finally up and running for Cuckoo. I have to see if that will help the cause with him frontlining for the team. Nothing to really pierce through spell immunity. So at least with 3 cores with BKBs, your Viper can start to force that bait in, but the push is still coming through steady from RSG here, Mike. Onto that bot tier 2, last outer tower for T1. Once that's gone, RSG can just constantly shove out the waves, wait for next Roshan if they wish, and start to think about their angles onto the high ground. I think the ideal for RSG going onto the high ground is, again, find a pick-off, break off that teamfight combination with T1, and just make it awkward to pull that RP overgrowth Solar Guardian out, because we still haven't seen it from T1. It feels like they need at least 2 of those spells to connect on multiple heroes, at least 2 heroes for Carl to really start to lay the damage in confidently here.
Exilern, that would be a big pick-off for T1. If they could find it, he's top of the net worth board right now. They are 13k behind. This is the one they need. But Exilern is being very sneaky in that tree line still. They're going to find him. Gabby is in with the RP, with the Solar Guardian. They have the lockdown. They'll take him out. That's a godlike spree to go the way of Cuckoo. In goes the fight though. Zhao Yu setting up Cuckoo. He'll man up on the Viper with his own BKB now. They may have overextended. RSG, I don't think this was a team fight. They're still trying though. They take down Zephyr. They've got Whitemon down. In fact, Cuckoo, he might die as well. On the Viper, he's gone. Carl forced the BKB TP out. Even with Exilern gone, they still managed to pull off the victory here. RSG, a 2 for 3 trade. But the gold change does work in favor of T1.
It's still a massive kill for them to find. Top net worth on Exilern. So the bounce back gold is very, very useful for the side of T1. I think the massive issue for T1 there is they instantly burst down to Kotal, but they had nothing left in the tank to hold down the Bloodseeker to prevent Xiaoyu from getting that good arena off. Without the RP and the Overgrowth and Solar Guardian, it was a bit tougher to counter 5 points of commitment was there. So RSG still find an opening, make it a little bit costly for T1 to get that pick off on Exalurin, and aren't fully out of the woods yet. You still need a lot more of these fights to break out. Gabby now trying to work onto the Lynxens into the refresh on the mag. Double RP could be the fix. And it's not necessarily a back-to-back RP we need. It's mainly just RP on one, then if you get another RP on a single target and burst them down, that can pay for itself as well. You just need more of that BKB piercing control, more of that wide area lockdown on hand for T1. And just let Carl handle the damage. Nullifier is still a ways off here for RTA. Into the Ags next. I love that Ags here from Carl if he does manage to pick it up. Just work the side lanes, keep it shoved back against this constant shoving that RSG will do. Counteracts that Kotal travels quite nicely. Roshan will be up in 12 seconds here, Mike, so big opening for RSG. Going to get information out on map, and T1 is fairly blind in that area. No vision out. They're going to have to get a good scan off when it's off cooldown and intercept that rush. They can't afford to give this away. They'll open up the high ground massively for RSG.
That it will. We'll see once when they get started on that, because Roger, he is going to scout this one out for the team. RSG, they'll make their way over, and it's going to be a rather quick Roshan for them. T1, they have all their spells up, but they are not aware this Roshan is happening. No traps in the pit to give the vision. And so that will be another Roshan and shards to go the way of RSG. Make life even tougher here for T1.
Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
Who do they give the shards over to? MKS is going to take it himself.
Fair enough. And having that additional
Radiant are scanning.
value on the Blood Rage can feel pretty good. Additional healing's always nice as well. So it does damage yourself. That's one funny thing about Bloodseeker, especially to say his Ags down the line. We'll never see that, which still makes me sad because it's such a meme. He just hurts himself. This guy's very edgy, Mike. MKS. I mean,
he certainly
Bloodseeker,
is.
not MKS. You know,
you
always. Yeah. Keep yourself safe, kids. Love yourself. Don't be like Bloodseeker.
Oh, RSG. We're still hanging around that top side. Roger's the only one down on the bottom side of the map right now. T1 all just hiding in the tree line, just trying to keep all the waves pushed in. They really need to force some rotations back here against RSG. Carl does have that Aghanim Scepter you talked about earlier, by the way, John. So they just keep pushing the lanes that way and indefinitely try to hold out this game. RSG in the meantime smoked up as 3, trying to find themselves a target, but nobody's showing. In fact, towards the tier 3 tower, they do actually find Cuckoo, who does BKB up immediately. But Rupture is there. Solar Guardian, it will be committed. Cuckoo gonna try for the TP out. The Bushwhack, missed time, isn't good enough. Meanwhile, Gabby has made the jump in. He does have RP available and does commit it eventually. Trying to get down Xiaoyu on the Mars. They do get him out. Onto MKS they go, but they've got Gabby locked down. The Sharpshooter's gonna be enough to take him out. It's MKS. He's more than happy to fight with this Aegis up. Do they try for high ground? I mean, Gabby's down to 75.
No threat of RP, no threat of Solar Guardian, no threat of Overgrowth. The team fight's kind of gone for T1, but they'll take it slow here on RSG. Do have to say, that sustain you get from Blood Rage is kind of ridiculous, Mike. 2% of the target's max HP as pure damage and a heal on Bloodseeker is... yeah, that's pretty whack, especially up against something like, say, a strength-based core, like the Magnus.
Yep.
MKS can sustain himself very well up front. There's nothing to slow him down in that sense as well. And they do manage to catch out Carl.
They do. Carl barely gets the BKB off in time. And he's going to be okay to TP out. Things are very, very scary for T1. RSG is still in complete control of this game. 15k net worth advantage standing here for RSG.
Swiftly to the temple's defense.
All they've got to do is get to the high ground. but it's much easier said than done, that's for sure. I mean, high ground's never easy, and well, T1, they are making it incredibly hard to make that attempt.
I think that's where T1 really shines, huh?
Zhao Yu tries with the arena to at least catch out Zephyr, but doesn't even find that.
Yeah, we're reaching the point where T1's playstyle kicks in, right? They love these prolonged games. They can stall out for an infinite time. They have great high ground defense with their heroes. They have a lot of team fight for those choke points. They can make it awkward for RSG to get up there. I think RSG is doing a great job of making it tough for T1 to find that. Right? Like they forced Carl to have to go into the Ags to split push to get some space out on the map, prevent themselves from being overwhelmed from this push, and make it awkward for RSG to find the angle. RSG is doing the same. They just cut through the creep wave, and they get a creep wave close enough to that tier 3 mid to get some damage off into the top tier 3 instead.
Oh, Gabby, nice skewer. No, it's going to be interrupted. The blinding light is not allowed to keep going. It's now the Spear is there. Zhao Yu jumping right back in. The Solar Guardian trying to keep him alive, but Gabby, he's going to get caught out and he's taken down. No buyback available. Can they find MKS though? Whitemon. He's still trying to at least get the first life, but MKS, no, he's gonna die. The tier 3 tower takes him out. They can still try for the high ground though. Gabby's out without buyback. He's short by about 200 gold right now. Couple bounty runes might fix that problem, but they can't get there in time. They've got to protect this top tier 3 tower. Zhao Yu gonna be spotted in the tree line, but does land a nice spear off onto Whitemon. In the Crimson Guard now protecting the tier 3 tower. They are trying absolutely everything to delay this as much as possible, but now with the Bushwhack and Cuckoo trapped in the arena, is going to go for the fight out. Meltrak is there, Carl trying to go after MKS, but they are both going to be 4-staffed out. Whitemon going to sit back. Bushwhack is there. Cuckoo does get caught again, but they are not allowing the high ground attempt to come through.
They're just pumping everything out to just ensure the towers hold for Gabby to come back in. Tower still stands. Only 20 seconds left till the Magnus is back up. RP will be good to go at that point. BKBs are down though. Kuku's BKB's down. Carl's BKB's down for a full minute. So there's still a window for RSG. They will play it safe. They'll back off, knowing that they've managed to force some resources out from T1. And T1 get to hold on to high ground. Somehow, their tier 3 is still alive despite all that effort there, Mike.
Hey, certainly is. RSG, I mean, it's going to be so frustrating for them. 18k net worth lead, 28 to 21. They have such an advantage, but they just can't get to the high ground as Carl's just being locked down so consistently in the mid lane. But they weren't ready to make the jump in. It's just so tough. Because there's going to reach a point where you're going to start falling behind as a team. Even if you control the map. We did see this at the major actually. Like the Fnatic was running a similar draft. And eventually it just doesn't feel like you do anything. So T1, if they hold out long enough, they might be able to make a massive comeback as Gabby is going to try and pick off Roger here on the Veno, but misses out on the skewer. Cuckoo showing on the map, almost baiting RSG in. Jump on Bond this time around, not going to connect with the Bushwhack, but he can throw in the decoy and does land a Bushwhack that way onto Cuckoo. They are holding the high ground as now Roger. No, again, the blinding light going to protect from the skewer back as now Zhao Yu's in with the arena spear. They've caught Cuckoo on the Viper. Can they get him down? He'll pump his BKB, but the Rupture is going to be there, so Cuckoo has to fight, but he'll go for the TP eventually. And it seems like as long as they play around these BKBs, they can always have the option of just TPing out because there's not enough physical damage.
Yeah, they do have the Basher up here on MKS. He doesn't manage to gap close, was slowing down quite a fair bit in that fight. So he couldn't try for the TP cancel. T1 playing tag, playing back and forth, forcing RSG to take these fights away from the high ground, preventing T1 from risking too much when they do step outside their base. Still feels like they need a lot more. And you've got the Scotty up now on MKS. He's hitting quite hard, mitigating some of that healing over time that they can try to get out with the Solar Guardian and with the living armor out from Zephyr. Carl's done a fantastic job of just constantly de-shoving waves. Like, one lane is going to shove out, the other two are not. And someone's going to be forced to respond from RSG every single time. Tends to be Excellent with the travel sup. Does have his full Octarine as well for lower cooldowns around the map.
Oh, Gabby.
So he does have that pressing. Oh.
Quick blink away. Got Rebuke. slam. Gabby is going to try and TP out. Oh, they've got the Hex out. XE learn.
What?
Does land the side device from a mile away. Skewer back, but the rupture is there. Gabby, he's in such big trouble. He's going to BKB in 2, but it won't matter. He's going to drop. Zhao Yu checking the tree line forever. Eventually finding Gabby and XE learn. He's got some big range on this Keeper of the Light, John.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous range on the Hex. Almost the entire screen, actually, if you're playing. So you can reach very far in to get that control. Roche is up as well with a free Aegis, with a free Ags blessing. Doesn't look like RSG is interested though. They want to force the high ground, force the buyback out from Gabby before anything else.
They're going to try now. Rupture is there. Cuckoo gonna be the target. Roger gonna back his way out for now, but the tier 3 tower is under siege, and now the arena gonna miss out on everybody. Sharpshooter will fly through. Tier 3 tower though still dropping. T1, they've got to make an entry somehow to this fight. It doesn't seem like they want to buy back on Gabby though, so they might just sacrifice this mid lane of barracks unless they absolutely need to buy back. The mid racks, it's gonna go down for free, or maybe not. MKS still being chipped away at. The Dream Protector slowly healing up that Rax, and with the bonus armor, it is rather hard, but Zhao Yu makes the jump in onto Cuckoo. They can try for the Viper, but he's still quite tanky and alive. In fact, now they might be able to turn soon. Gabby, he's up in 8 seconds, so they do jump in with the TA. They try. There's just Oligati now, making it even harder. Here comes Gabby. In 1 second, he'll be up at Carl. He's dropping way too low on the TA. He might just be down, and he is. He does end up dropping. Gabby, he'll join the team fight, but where's the RP out? He needs to throw it out right now. MKS still walking away. Gabby, he'll go for the skewer out. He does catch MKS. That's a godlike spree to go the way of the Magnus, and now Carl, he'll buy back immediately. Zhao Yu in trouble, but does put the shield up, tries to walk away. In the meantime, Roger, he does get out of there. Gabby, he'll get caught by the bushwhack. They can't find much more. They do get 2 for their trouble. They do get a hell of a lot of gold away from this Bloodseeker, but it's still a 2. Well, I suppose they even held high ground, John. They didn't lose their racks.
No, they held on. Somehow, again, T1 does it. Just holds on. All the protective items would whirl the raid pack, mitigating some of that damage. The staggered use of the Pipe of Insight and the staggered use of the Crimson Guard, just slowing down that pace, are starting to step outside. And Roche is up. They've got the fight around us. Carl did buy back for the last fight. He needs this Roshan, just so that he has a chance in this game. And RSG, they do have turn here. Zhao Yu's ready with the arena. Refresh ready as well.
They haven't got buyback on MKS though, John. Cuckoo, he might know this. He wants the buyback to be committed. Mind you, no RP's up, so Gabby, he'll be relying on the skewer back. There's going to be a big wrap around here. T1 trying to get to that Radiant Triangle. Zhao Yu, he'll break the smoke. Gabby going to try for his luck. Skewer, not going to connect. Zhao Yu, he'll get an arena down. Spear out onto Whitemon. Sharpshooter does also connect, but they're too tanky. They need to keep going. Keep trying to commit as the bushwhack. It does land onto the Dawnbreaker. Zhao Yu still trying onto Whitemon, but he's just still tanking through it, trying to walk away, and he actually is going to make it out. In fact, Gabby now, another shot at the skewer back does find Zhao Yu with the overgrowth, hold him down. Zhao Yu still trying to run, does actually survive.
What?
The Illuminate. Roger, he'll jump in for the poison over, and now the bushwhack onto 3 targets. A complete mess in the top lane as they've got the Bloodseeker. MKS, has he gone too far? He just respawned. He's trying to man fight against the whole team. He'll find Carl on the TA. MKS, how are you still living? How's he alive? Whitemon, speaking of how you're still alive, might eventually fall, and does. MKS, he literally fought the whole team and still won, John.
Oh man, that sustain he's getting out, just way too much. Really good play from Roger, just throwing his life forward, getting that Poison Nova off to drop the side of T1 very, very low. The side of T1 now can't go for the rush. Slowly but surely, RSG will clear it out. And Gabby still has RP, but he's not going to risk it so far away from the space. And T1's got to find another way to hold high ground, Mike. Up against Aegis, up against the free Ags Blessing and the Cheese here. Ready to go for RSG. They will hand the Ags over to Roger. So way more damage coming through from that Poison Nova now. The scaling on max HP. T1, look, both sides have found ways to find these impossible circumstances and turn it around for themselves. T1 has to do it again. They've got to find a way to hold high ground, prevent their Rex from falling, and somehow kill MKS twice. They've got the damage almost on Carl. It doesn't feel as much as you'd want it to be here. You know, not as high as you'd wish it was. He is trying to work onto his MKB, into the Shard, into the Swift Blink. In fact, no, he's switching it up. Refresh, Swift Blink. That's what Carl's going for, wanting more BKB in all of these fights. But the rack siege has begun. Can they finally clear it out here? Guess we'll find out.
They're gonna try. Rupture is out. Let's connect on to Cuckoo's Viper, but they just want the mid-racks for now. They don't want much else. MKS gonna move in. Cuckoo still trying to protect the melee barracks. Carl's up in 15 seconds. They might be able to fight very, very soon as the Bloodseeker gonna back off and play very, very carefully here. But the racks, it's still standing. The Crimson Guard, it makes it so much tankier with the living armor, and now Gabby jumps in. RP committed. MKS is the target. Arena down. Xiao Yu, he's going to try and save for the Bloodseeker. Will lose his first life as Cuckoo dropping low himself. Might just go down to the Viper, but he's going to go for the man fight as the RP committed again. Skewer back. It's not going to make it to the fountain of the Bloodseeker. Somehow surviving as now Overgrowth's committed, but Zephyr goes down. Back into the mid-racks they go. The melee barracks will finally go down.
Dire's middle barracks is falling.
Gabby, he's going to try again with the skewer back on a Roger, but the Aeon Disc is going to protect him now. The Arena Spear is out. Xiao Yu, he's got the pause. One Magnus, the Bushwhack, it'll land. Sharpshooter onto Carl, or rather it was onto Cuckoo, but now the Solar Guardian keeping them alive as Gabby trying to get them into the base, but it's not enough. The Blinding Light again, it's going to save from the skewer. MKS trusting his Keeper of the Light to stay alive. As they go in again, Roger, he might drop. Nullify is out. Bushwhack gonna hold both of them down now. Gleipnir is out. Bloodrite is there. Gabby trying to chase Roger with the Blinding Light again. XE learn. He won't leave these guys alone. These Blinding Lights, he's literally holding on to them to interrupt the skewer every single time.
Yeah, if it's not the Blinding Light, it's the Force Staff coming through from Roger. It's the Force Staff just interrupting, pulling them away, and that was such a big opportunity for Gabby. Just picks up the refresh, gets a good first RP, gets a good second RP, doesn't get the full skewer back. If they did manage to find MKS, I think this game would take a slightly different direction. I mean, T1's still very far behind, all things considered, even if they found that kill on the Bloodseeker. But now they've got to try defending once more. Still 2 more racks standing. RSG will want to clear out these objectives soon. They've got a massive 32k lead now. And it doesn't feel like we've reached a point where Carl overtakes. He's just massively behind the net worth. MK is just using his itemization really well, using his forward presence really well, and they can't really focus in on it. It takes way too many big spells to catch him out. Double RP in about 40 seconds here. So a little bit of patience needed for T1, but that might be time that RSG isn't willing to give away here.
Well, they're going to try Carl. Carl, he blinked in. He'll blink. He'll blink out. I don't know how he got in there. I think it was the trap. Here we go again. Tier 3 tower. Under siege, but again, with the Crimson Guard living armor, it's a lot of armor being placed here. Sharpshooter gonna land onto Whitemon, but it's not doing that much damage anymore. They're still trying. Gabby, Bushwhack will connect from jump on Bond. They're just poking and prodding. The tier 3 though, it's still healing up. It's got plus 20 armor from this screen. I mean, it's just ridiculous how much armor he's giving to this tower on top of the Crimson Guard.
Yeah, it's they managed to stall again. T1, they've got double RP ready to go on Gabby. They just need to find a way to get in there and use that. It feels like Gabby's been pretty hesitant to BKB RP. He tends to save that BKB afterwards, although...
Oh, RP's committed. They've got the Bloodseeker. MKS has been a real nuisance recently. Can they take him down? MKS trying to run. Overgrowth is there, but he manages it off. They can't hold him down, but now the RP. Gabby, he's got 3 of them this time. In fact, 4 with the skewer. Solar Guardian in. Maybe they can get him. They've got 2 of them right now. Xiao Yu gonna try and BKB and run out of there. He's gonna make it for now, but Whitemon thinking about the chase. Won't keep going. They hold high ground. That'll be enough.
Oh, what a game so far. Back and forth. Oh, refreshes out. A million things going on in the map. They managed to get that secondary arena. It looked good for RSG to turn around. Instead, Excellent immediately buys back in. So he's not going to have buyback for the next engage. If he gets picked off, that could be T1's rallying point to take back the map, maybe find some objectives, put themselves back in the game. They're still playing behind, but that was like from 32k lead to 25k, a massive swing for T1 to keep themselves in here, Mike.
My heart can't handle these kind of games, John. I'm getting old. It's too much. I mean, props to RSG, John. Again, I think the panel was talking about how they didn't perform that well in Pro Series, but it seems like the fire is reignited here against T1. You could argue drafts, but my God, they are doing a great job here, RSG, as they go again. Who have they jumped on? No one quite yet. There was a sight device out onto Whitemon, but he's going to be fine. RSG trying to push against the wall that is T1, and the wall is just not moving. It's just not budging.
No, and I love the build-up here. Both supports now, Zephyr, Whitemon going for refreshes of their own. Well, Zephyr switches out. Whitemon's still going away. So double Solar Guardian just wants to be able to throw his body out, get all the stuns, get all the AoEs. When it does connect, it connects.
He'll find Zephyr. Not the greatest kill, but it's still a kill. And at this late of the game, any kill's a great kill. So take the Treant Protector. He's down without buyback. In fact, I believe that was the dieback.
Yes, it is the dieback, and I'd say that's a massive kill, Mike. You pointed out the living armor, 20 bonus armor in the buildings. That's gone for a full minute and a half. So that's an opening for RSG. If they do want to pierce into the high ground once more, they might just wait for next Roshan, which is a minute away, and when we see that respawn timer up, T1, and they've got some time to, respond to that. Double RP in 20 seconds. Ninja Gear out for Gabby as well, switching around that and the spider legs for the mobility. So Gabby can find good angles to work with now. You just need to hold on, prevent any sort of movement onto the racks or onto the buildings, just because they need that living armor. It's been a big part of their equation here for the stall game.
Well, they're going to try. This is their moment. RSG, they've got the opening. Carl, very careful, sir. Leipnir is not going to land. It still feels like he's not at that point where he can really just delete people on this TA as the rupture. He's going to make life even harder for him now. He'll sit back and relax, but without that living armor, it's just not as tanky as Tier 3 tower. Gabby, he'll miss the skewer back. They won't miss the spear though onto Cuckoo. They've got the Viper. Sharpshooter connects with the Nullifier. The Solar Guardian not going to do anything. Well, not enough the least, as now they've got the TA locked down with the Bushwhack for Carl. He's alive and he does get Roger. Buyback is immediate from Roger. Zephyr up in 20. They're missing Cuckoo now as Whitemon does get caught out, and Zhao Yu does secure another. Whitemon does have buyback, but they might have to give up the bot lane of Barracks here and hope for the best with that top lane of Barracks. As RSG now smelling blood in the water. Gabby trying to jump in with blinding light again, gonna save the day. Roger in trouble, but not for long. Gabby, he's the one really in trouble. He does have buyback. He'll have to commit for this last team fight. He still has both RPs up. They've been very good here, RSG, at avoiding the RPs from Gabby, especially the skewer back at Roger. It's going to be fine. Bushwhack out onto Carl once again. The Hex is there. RP only connecting on one Gabby. He'll skewer nothing back. Carl's in big trouble. He can't afford to die right now, but MKS, he's on the job. Bushwhack again from Zhao Bonbon. He is down. He does have buyback though as Gabby trying once again, but Roger is saved by the blinding light. Another skewer back on the Venomancer, but the top racks, it is just going down. It's just going down. They've got to protect. T1. They're going to hold on to one range Barracks now, John. Just one.
Oh, God. It's way too back and forth. Gabby jumping in without using his BKB gets punished for it. Forced to buy back a lot earlier than you want to. The side of T1 now, I mean, they're 39k behind, but they're still fighting. RSG can't really close the game out either. Roshan in a minute. This could be probably the last Roche fight for T1. Maybe their last fight if they overextend in this. Going outside, very far outside their base, up against two lanes of super creeps now. We'll take back their outposts at least. Roche still half a minute away. RSG will want that. If they manage to take this fight, go into Roche. That's a clear cut to the tier 4s. No buybacks in a lot of heroes of T1. Very awkward position here as RSG. They just looked amazing. They look amazing. And Xiao Yu's just playing his mind out. They had a slower start in lanes, but once that blink came up from Xiao Yu, he's just been a monster. And this guy has been excellent in every team he's been on, even in his time in TNC. In that short stint, looked like the best player there, and certainly showing off why he's such a good offlane here, Mike.
Oh, absolutely. Xiao Yu's been doing a great job here, John. Can't help but notice as well the win probability right now, John, 98%. So 2% still being given the way of T1. 38k net worth advantage. You think it'd already be at 100, but apparently no. Gaben still believes there's a 2% chance for T1 here. So there you go, John. There's still a chance. Xiao Yu, he might break that chance right now. So he does split out Gabby and Whitemon, but they do back off. Keep in mind, John, and every time I say this, it never happens, but 3.5 minutes for tier 5 items.
I just feel like you say that so we don't hit 60 minutes, Mike. I think that's your play, isn't it? You just
we still
ensure
hit
you
60 minutes. We just don't get the items. Nobody ever goes to the jungle.
So we all lose, is what you're saying, Mike.
Correct. Correct.
Shame. Still, I mean, T1 does have hold for days, right? They've got wave clear on all of their cores, well, at least 2 of their big cores. Roche does begin here from RSG. T1, double RP, still 20 seconds away, 20 plus. Not sure if this is the best time to fight for them.
Well, they're trying to stall this out as best as possible, but MKS, he's gone right into the Roshan pit. Smoke out as well. They're preparing for this team fight, making sure to cut off anyone as Gabby has been pinged out. They know where he is. The bushwhack is going to land. They've got the Magnus. Speed down, but Gabby, he's going to survive. With the BKB out, he will walk away. Instead, Cuckoo is the one in trouble. Bushwhack is going to land onto the Viper. He's still alive, but no, the bash comes out. The Viper somehow still alive. Gabby trying to save the Bloodseeker now. The one in danger is Gabby. Commit the double RP out, but now double Arena is going to be committed. The Bloodseeker still alive. MKS, he'll get back to fighting. Onto Carl he goes. MKS is not dying. Not this team fight. He'll keep it going. There's another skewer back. Is it going to be enough? MKS, he is somehow still alive. But no, they finally take him down. The Bloodseeker is gone. But now Cuckoo and Carl both look to be taken out as the Viper surely cannot survive. MKS, he brought back in for the Roshan. They go.
I don't know how you defend this one with... Yeah, just 2 heroes to defend this one. Mike onto the high ground. Look at those creeps on the high ground as well. A massive wave. Zephyr left all by himself to do this. And he is looking probably just one of the heroes that can't deal with these waves. Gabby still trying to play tag, isn't able to contest the Roshan. He's gonna have to try to run away from this one.
Oh, Zephyr already caught out GG. He just calls it. Yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do? Oh, what a great game from RSG. RSG, they came in swinging this game 1, John. I wonder if there's any kind of qualms here with the draft from T1. But obviously a very kind of confident draft to go for. But for RSG, it does seem like they've gotten things together after Pro Series.
Yeah, they went back, they studied. I think if there was any tournament to kind of underperform, Pro Series is it. It shows you your weaknesses. It allows you to adjust for the DPC, and adjust they did on RSG, Sam. They put up a tough fight up against T1. They start off really slow. T1 found a lot of kills in the laning phase, but then they just hit that timing. Excellent gets active with the travels. They hit that blink on Xiao Yu. They worked the map, and it just suddenly felt like T1 didn't have a Navi. They did have those big team fight combinations, couldn't come out, and maybe it just boils back to that draft, Mike. They last picked the TA knowing that, you know, they're going to have a different mid matchup. But it's still not a natural hero that plays with, say, Empower from Magnus all too well. You know, it doesn't really get that cleave off. You have the side blades, but when you RP, you don't really get a lot of side blades off depending on the angle. So I'm keen to see what T1 changes up themselves, considering that it looked very confident from the draft, and they still managed to make it tough. Like, RSG played amazingly well, but so did T1. Both sides bring up some top-tier Dota here.
Yeah, fantastic game 1, RSG. I want to see if they can do it again. T1, I'm sure they're going to come back revitalized after that game 1 and see what they can do in game 2. Of course, we are going to head off to a very short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with game 2's draft. We'll see you then.